And so if you have that realistic expectation of £1, maybe £2 a week, depending on how much you've got to lose, really set yourself up with, right, that's then going to take me, let's just say 20 weeks to hit my goal. That's nearly half a year. So when you say that to a lot of people, that sounds like a big chunk of time, and it seems slow, and it might feel like an ineffective way to get to the end goal. But if you then see that as time that you're also laying these foundational habits, learning the skills, and preparing for the diet after the diet, that's actually not 20 weeks of fat loss, it's 20 weeks of investment.
Yeah, it's just like the way you would go to university and you would spend 2 or 3 years learning the skills to graduate and have that skill set to show that you are proficient in whatever you've decided to go and study. It's the same sort of thing. If you and that part of it is maybe affecting your professional life, you know what I mean? But what we're talking about here is affecting your personal life and your health. And it's like, it almost sounds ludicrous for it not to take a year or 8 months. You know what I mean? You're going to go and learn skills and foundational habits that are going to serve you every day till the day you die. And you're not very good at them right now. So you need to start putting the reps in education to get a little bit better every day. If you've done that for a year and it returns you for 50, that's a good return. And I think that's just not what's pushed. And I think that's the issue, isn't it? It's like £7 in 7 days. Got to do this right now. Like, follow this meal plan. Don't think about anything. Just follow this. There is a more effort to the education piece and learning the skills that are necessary to succeed. But it's so worth it.
That's actually a really good analogy that I've never thought of before. Because if someone was like, hey, here's this course, you can get a degree in 4 weeks. You probably would be like, okay, well, that's going to be a really intense and miserable 4 weeks. But also, who's going to take my degree seriously when it only took me 4 weeks? Like, it can't be worth the paper it's written on.
Yeah.
And so actually, if we applied that logic to all the diets that we see, we would be a lot more questioning.
Yeah. You see this with, it's the same in business. I mean, probably a lot of people have seen ads for this as well, but like, there's a lot of like, get rich in 30 days or get rich in 90 days. And like, if you just zoom out, like if it was that easy to make £1 million in 90 days, there would be a lot more millionaires. It's not. It's the same thing. It's the shiny object syndrome of like, look at this new shiny thing, give it a go. And it's like, actually the people who have become really good at business, they've just done the same thing as what we're talking about with health. They've just got incrementally better every day for a couple of years. And then they've laid that foundational habits and they've got those skills and they're able to execute on a more regular basis. It's the same part with your health. And I think just the part that a lot of people maybe don't get is because it's been so hard for decades, you don't believe to an extent that it can get easier or get to a point where it's not overwhelming or not taking up a lot of mental headspace, but it can. Like, it really, really can. So putting the time in to do that, like, it will affect every day for the rest of your life. And that's why I believe it's such a big return on your investment. More energy, sleeping better, happier, more positive, just every day. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have like a bad days. Like, there's like, I heard Simon Sinek talk about mental fitness, and it's just as important as physical fitness. Like, we'll go to the gym and some days we just won't feel like the best in our sessions. And we just accept like, it's a bit of an off day. Maybe I haven't slept as well or whatever it is, or maybe the kids will get me up. And you just accept it. But like, sometimes people beat themselves up so much if they are not having a mentally good day. Oh, I'm a lot more negative today. I feel depressed. I feel anxious. I feel this. It's like, that happens too. You have mental fitness. There's highs and lows of that too. But like, in terms of like where you could be right now to getting your health in place, it's like night and day. In terms of like what that baseline is, that baseline when you've got your health together, in terms of how you feel on a day-to-day basis compared to not having your health together, is like night and day with the physicality side of things and the mental side of things too.
Because they're so interlinked as well.
They're so interlinked, yeah.
Yeah. And I think another important thing that you raised there is you will have seasons, you will have ups and downs in life, stuff happens. And just because you get to your goal weight at the end of this weight loss journey doesn't mean that's it fixed at that weight for the rest of your life if you do everything right. Because nobody can be that consistent and do everything right, again, in inverted commas, forever, because life happens.
Yeah.
And I think the difference is if you have worked things out along the way that work for your lifestyle, or you've figured out how to overcome certain obstacles, when that life happens stuff comes along, yeah, you know what? You might gain 4, 5, 6, 7 pounds, but it's not a big deal because you know all the things you just need to bring back into play. You do them. They're not stressful. They're not this big, crazy, extreme diet. and you have the confidence in the process, that will work. I'll give it time, and then I'll just go back to my routine.
Yeah. Because like everyone has a standard with themselves, and it's just like where you set in that bar. Like I think that's what it comes down to. Like most people will have a standard of like, I'm not getting bigger than X weight. I'm not getting bigger than extra size or whatever else. Like you have a standard, and it's like that standard just maybe needs to shift and change. And you just need to understand like, how can I get it to a standard where I'm happy and healthy, and how can I make it easy to an extent to stay there?
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point as well, that it's a range, not a fixed point.
Yeah.
Like for me, definitely before I got pregnant, I had a range of like 61 to 63 kilos. I was happy because I was a lot more muscular then. I weigh less than that now, and so I would probably say my range is different, but that's because I lost a lot of muscle. And so your range also isn't going to stay the same forever as life happens. And it's really important to stay tuned into your own self-awareness and your own like sense of being in your body. And if you can do that on the way through your journey, then you'll figure out like what feels good, what doesn't, and you can check in as life changes and reassess those boundaries.